The Mercedes SL, originally initials for a German word meaning super light, but this particular SL, the 1972 to 1989 R107 chassis, is not very light. It's actually over 3,500 pounds, but it proved to be very popular in America. So, does it make an excellent classic car? Perhaps even a used car bargain these days? Let's find out. I think it's definitely a looker. Elegant, sophisticated, simplistic. Of course, with a huge Mercedes badge up front. The large rubber bumpers for America, perhaps not one of its best features, but it's just pretty, classic, elegant, very nice. It's a timeless shape from every angle. No wonder they were so popular. Still looks great today, 40 years later. And presto changeo, you go from convertible to soft top. A stylish look either way. The elegant classic styling continues inside. The blue synthetic leather really looks good against the traditional silver Mercedes color on the outside. It's really amazing how 40 years later, this one still looks so good. Blue leather seats are really quite soft. They're springy actually, which makes for an extremely comfortable ride. And I think they look great too. You can tilt the seats forward or backwards. There's a nice big headrest. No center console really. No storage anyway. Just a little tray right here. Moving forward, power window controls and the very familiar Mercedes automatic shifter. The 3-speed automatic transmission also has a sport and a low gear too. There's a quirkiness to the German controls for the ventilation and air conditioning and defrost, but they do work as they should. It's really nice to have the original Becker AM/FM cassette stereo. Above the radio you can control the cruise control and the vents. Note that the vents have really sophisticated advanced styling because even today many cars have the same look. Of course you get the large SL Mercedes steering wheel with the emblem in place. It's very soft and feels very comfortable in your hands. And the gauges, well, straightforward, right in front of you, of course. Big speedometer, tachometer, but you also get oil pressure, temperature, of course a gas gauge, and over here, a clock and a tachometer. You get controls for the lights and the parking brace release here, and just simple lock and latch controls on the door. You actually have to adjust the mirror manually. Tilt the seat back, and unlike the classic Porsche 911, which has two little seats back here, you just get a storage tray, but it is carpeted and does provide a lot of extra needed room too. This tool is actually used to secure the hard and soft top with these fittings. To secure the hard top and back, there's one of these on either side, and this handle actually secures the back of the top back there in the middle, and it also raises this to reveal the soft top. All in all, it's a simple, elegant, and luxurious interior. You get a very respectable trunk in the 450 SL here. Pop it on open, and you'll see there's plenty of room. This one even comes with some extra parts too. Powering the 450 SL is a 4.5-liter V8 single overhead cam engine, which has 2 valves per cylinder. Power goes to the rear wheels through a 3-speed automatic transmission. In the early 70s, power was rated at 214 horsepower and 266 pound-feet of torque. But in the mid-70s, it dropped to 180 horsepower and 220 pound-feet of torque due to stricter emissions. Top speed is 130 miles an hour. Fuel economy is rated at around 16 miles per gallon, and the gas tank holds 23.8 gallons, so you can expect a cruising range of about 380 miles. This one, the 1975 version, should do a bit better in terms of fuel economy because it is the 180 horsepower version. The Mercedes name actually derived from the company known as Daimler. They were building cars in the late 1800s, and a wealthy businessman named Emil Jelnik was interested in purchasing one of their cars to race in Nice, France. He won a race with the car he bought, And from that point on, he was hooked on the cars. He actually ordered 36 cars for him and his friends, and since he had so much clout, he was able to stipulate that the cars be named after his daughter, Mercedes. Daimler actually thought that Mercedes was a better name to market in places like France, so they went with it. And to this day, they're still called Mercedes-Benz. The top-down driving position is good. You sit low in the car, so the windshield really shields you against the wind. And of course, if you keep the windows up and perhaps a hat, scarf, and a coat on, then you can really drive this all year round, depending on your climate. The heater is strong too, so that keeps you comfortable as well. This is what it's all about, al fresco motoring. The versatility of the SL is really what makes it special. You can drive it as a coupe, soft top convertible, or of course just with the top down. Process takes some getting used to, but it's easy when you master it. To raise the soft top, you just move this back and this flies up, and there you have it, soft top right here, and it easily lifts up, and then you can just lock it in place back here and you're off. There's really no weight to the manual soft top. It's very easy to raise and lower too. Cruising around with the soft top in place, well, that gives you the ability to quickly take it down if the weather's good and quickly put it up if the weather's not good. So it's nice to have it in what Mercedes calls roadster form. Now when you ordered it with the hard top, Mercedes actually called it the coupe, even though they also had the SLC coupe, which was a fixed head coupe. That's the way they designated it if it was ordered with both tops. But I love the versatility. You got 3 different ways to go: topless or your choice of 2 different tops, and it's great all year round. Plus, if your rag top ever goes bad, well, you could just cover it up and use the hard top and not spend the money to get it fixed. I'm glad this one's in great shape though. Even has the original tool set and all the records from when it was new. It was an interesting run for the 1972 to 1979 R107 SLs. They started out costing about $10,500 and 0 to 60 time of about the mid 9-second range. And by the time you got to 1976, mid-70s, well, the price had doubled to about $20,000. And they were actually slower because in the mid-70s, you had a lot of problems with oil, and there was an extreme gas shortage in America, long lines, and so they had to really put more emissions controls on these cars, and it made them a bit slower, just about a 0 to 60 time of 11 seconds. And by the time you got to the late 80s, the 560 SL, well, that was a quicker car in the 7-second range for 0 to 60, and that's about on par with a top-of-the-line V6 sedan these days. But the price, well over $60,000. So in that short time span, the price really increased. Now, some people are critical of the mid-70s 450 SLs, but to me, you know, they're not speed demons in any case, even the later ones. So what you have is really a sophisticated amount of speed. It's a V8 engine, it's smooth as silk. Certainly you can cruise all day at Autobahn speeds, but I wouldn't consider it fast. It holds the turns fairly well. The handling is crisp and predictable, but you're certainly not going to want to race this car. It's not about that. You know, in the mid-70s, Mercedes didn't even have AMG. BMW really didn't have the M cars yet, so you had your Lamborghinis, you had your Ferraris, and of course they were much quicker than this. But that's not what the SL is about. The SL is about rugged build quality, dependability. This is a very solid car. It's about comfort, it's about elegance and sophistication. This SL is a beautiful car. Even today, it still looks great. It's a timeless shape, a timeless design. Simplistic, yet fully functional, and very luxurious for the time. It's a long, elegant hood, and of course you have that Mercedes emblem just blaring up front to let people know that you've arrived. It's a nice view. It's certainly not a race car, but it has respectable speed and respectable handling as well. What more could you ask for? It says a lot that Vanity Fair magazine chose this particular SL, the 72 to 1989 R107 chassis, as the most desirable of the whole range. Now that might surprise you, but to me, it doesn't, because, you know, the first generation Gullwing really set the high standard. That was an amazing car, extremely advanced for its day, and just a very shocking and elegant look. It's certainly an icon, but I think this one is actually an icon too. It stands the test of time just as well, and it's certainly more drivable. You know, with prices of these ranging today from just a few $1,000s all the way up to about $30,000 for the most expensive low mileage 560 SL, I think they're a bargain too. Now the 1963 to 1971 W113 chassis, the predecessor to this car, they all had V6 engines, and they're a bit rarer. Only about 49,000 of those were built versus 237,000 of these. So only about 20% were made, and that makes sense because the values of those can be as much as 5 times higher. Now those are great cars, and they're very pretty with the pagoda hardtop design reminiscent of a Japanese pagoda, but these basically have the same look, and they're a lot more accessible due to their pricing. Also, parts are more readily available. Now the newer SLs, I don't think the shape is quite as attractive as these classic SLs. Certainly they're up there in terms of overall performance and handling, and certainly more modern, luxurious features, but they just don't have the class, sophistication, and elegance of the earlier SLs. I don't think they look nearly as pretty. To me, you can compare the R107 SL to a beautiful woman who's a bit mature. You can't place her age exactly. She might be 40-something, she might be 50-something, or even 60. She really knows how to wear her style. Her makeup is impeccable. Her silk dress, beautiful and flowing. And although there might be attractive younger women around her, they're just not comfortable in their own skin. They just don't carry it off as well. You'd rather spend time with this sophisticated woman because you know you'll have a great time. Just like this SL can be dressed for any occasion perfectly. If it's sunny outside, she'll be ready for the beach. But of course, like my particular SL, she'll be ready in the rain with a nice soft blue sweater, and in this SL's case, a nice blue soft top. When the weather gets really cold and winter really moves in, well, she'll have on her beautiful fur coat. In this case, the hard top. When you've got the hard top on in this SL, it's really like a coupe. It's like a hard top. You can go anywhere with this. No leaks, no. This is German engineering, and even in the 70s, it was sophisticated and advanced. There's a mechanical sophistication to the way you go ahead and put on the hard top for the winter, or you take it off in the summer and it's ready to go with the soft top. Go ahead and store the hard top in your shed and wait till the next time you need it. Find yourself a nice example like this one, a one-owner car. Sure, it has 163,000 miles, but that's only 4,000 per year, and these Mercedes SLs are known to go easily 300,000 miles without needing any major engine work. Even 40 years later today, you still get admiring glances, and you still look successful, and you look stylish and sophisticated also, driving a classic car like this one. It's a statement. It's a styling accessory, but yet it's also reliable and fun transportation. It's certainly quick enough to have fun with on a nice twisty country road, but it's not brutal, it's not harsh. It's an extremely comfortable ride on par with Rolls-Royces and Cadillacs of the day, and it's just like that mature, extremely attractive woman. She always arrives in style, and this R107 chassis SL is exactly the same. With it, you'll always be happy, comfortable, and secure, and most importantly, you'll always arrive in style, and I definitely think this one is a used car classic to be sure. It's timeless. I'm Drivin Ivan Katz.